rap industry operates on a unique set of unspoken rules. It's a world where power isn't just measured in money, but in respect, in alliances, in the kind of favors that can't be bought, only earned. That's why some collaborations happen in ways that people on the outside will never fully understand. That's why, early on, Nipsey Hussle had a Drake verse. It wasn't just about the usual industry politics. It wasn't a record label making calls and pulling strings. It was something deeper. A connection. A favor. A moment where one artist recognized another's potential and decided to extend a hand. The industry moves like that. Sometimes, artists trade verses instead of cash. Instead of a business transaction, it's more like a mutual agreement, an understanding that I'll help you now, and maybe you'll help me later. This is why certain relationships in hip-hop matter more than people realize. It's why some artists who seem like they came up out of nowhere actually had major support behind the scenes. It's why some names get co-signed that changes everything for them. It's about relationships, about who you know, and about whether you understand the game beyond just making music. But while some artists play the game smart, moving strategically, understanding when to step back and when to step forward, others let their egos get the best of them. And that's why so many artists today are getting caught up in situations that could have been avoided. Every day, it seems like another rapper is making headlines, not for their music, not for their achievements, but for getting locked up. Another name added to the growing list of talented artists who threw everything away over pride, over ego, over the inability to let things go. And that's the real tragedy of it all. It's not about money. It's not about survival. It's about the need to be seen a certain way. The need to prove something that, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't even matter. And the cycle repeats itself over and over again. Take Loose Cannons, for example. He could have just ignored the noise. He could have stayed focused on his career, on his family, on his success. But he didn't. He let himself get caught up in something that wasn't worth his time. And now, he's sitting in a cell, probably thinking about all the times he could have just walked away, but chose not to. The same goes for Rick Baby. If he had just let it go, if he had just shut up and kept pushing forward, he wouldn't be in the position he's in now. But that's the thing. People don't want to let things go. They don't want to be seen as weak. They don't want to take what they think is the L. So instead, they make choices that end up costing them everything. And for what? For a moment of pride? For the approval of people who won't even care a year from now. The streets don't love anybody. The game doesn't pause. The fans move on. The industry keeps pushing forward, looking for the next big thing. And the only ones who really suffer are the ones who thought they had something to prove. It's a pattern that's been happening for years, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. The problem is, too many artists think they're different. They think they can get away with it. They think they won't get caught. They think their name, their fame, their money will protect them. But it never does. And by the time they realize it, it's too late. The saddest part is, a lot of these artists are actually good people. They're talented. They have potential. They have families that depend on them. But they make bad choices. And bad choices lead to bad consequences. The law doesn't care about your status. The system doesn't care about how many followers you have, how many streams your latest album got, or how many people consider you a legend. If you break the rules, if you make the wrong moves, you're going to pay the price. And it's not just the ones getting locked up that suffer. It's the people around them too. Their families, their kids, the people who depended on them. When an artist goes to jail, they don't just lose their freedom. They lose time. They lose opportunities. They lose money. And sometimes, they lose everything they worked so hard to build. Think about how many artists had everything they ever dreamed of, but still threw it all away. Think about how many careers ended because someone made a choice that they didn't have to make. It's frustrating to watch, but it's also a reminder that the industry isn't just about talent. It's about survival. It's about knowing when to walk away, when to stay quiet, when to focus on what really matters. Because at the end of the day, music is supposed to be about expression, about storytelling, about creating something that lasts beyond just a moment. But too many artists get caught up in the wrong things. They let distractions pull them away from their purpose. They let the streets dictate their decisions, even when they've already made it out. They let their egos control them instead of controlling their egos. And the worst part? Most of them don't realize the truth until it's too late, until they're behind bars, looking back on all the chances they had to make better decisions, until they're sitting in a courtroom, realizing that the people they thought had their back are nowhere to be found, until they see someone else take their spot in the industry, because the world doesn't wait for anyone. The cycle will keep repeating itself. Some will learn, some won't. Some will take the lessons from those before them and build something better for themselves. Others will make the same mistakes and face the same consequences. But one thing will always be true. The rap game doesn't stop for anybody. The industry keeps moving. The world keeps spinning. And the ones who don't move with it, they get left behind. That's all for now. Not much else happening at the moment, but I just wanted to wrap things up with that thought. Smash that like button, and I'll check in with you guys in the morning. Peace.